Item 192. Landscape planting. 1. Description. Provide and install plants and related materials at designated locations. Maintain plants, related materials, and landscaped areas at the specified frequency. 2. Materials. Comply with the latest standards as follows, unless otherwise shown on the plans. The most recently published edition of the American Standard for Nursery Stock, ANSI Z60.1. Standardized plant names published by the American Joint Committee on Horticultural Nomenclature. Meet additional requirements for plants and related materials as shown on the plans. 2.1 Plants. Provide nursery-grown plants unless otherwise shown on the plans. Provide vigorous, healthy, well-rooted, plants with well-formed crowns, true to sizes, and of typical shape and characteristics of the species. Provide plants with name tags attached showing the genus, species, and specified variety. 2.2 Rejection of plants. Plants with any of the following characteristics are subject to rejection. Disease or insect infestation, including eggs and larvae. Dried or damaged root system or crown. Excessive abrasion of the bark. Prematurely opened or damaged buds. Disfiguring knots. Evidence of heat, freeze, or windburn, mold, sun scald, or similar conditions. Damaged, pruned, crooked, or multiple leaders, unless multiple leaders are specified or are normal for the species. Cut limbs over 3/4 inches in diameter that have not completely caulk-used. Dry, soggy, loose, cracked, broken, misshapen, or undersized root balls. Processed bald roots, bench bald. Root balls encased in impervious material. Overgrown or root-bound plants. Undersized or unsound containers. Stock not well established in containers. Containers with less than 3/4 planting medium depth. An abnormal balance between height and spread for the species. Missing or broken serialized locking tags, when specified. Any condition that does not conform to the plans or nursery stock standards, or conditions that would prevent thriving growth or cause an unacceptable appearance. 2.3 Backfill and plant soil mix. Use soil excavated from the plant pits or beds or provide a loose, friable soil mix as shown on the plans. Provide a soil mix free of reproductive parts of weeds and grasses, harmful substances, and detrimental amounts of foreign matter. Use compost in accordance with Section 161.2.3, General Use Compost, GUC, when specified on the plans. 2.4 Mulch. Provide loose, organic mulch derived from plants unless other types are shown on the plans. Use mulch free of excessive amounts of leaves, sticks, harmful substances, and detrimental amounts of soil or other foreign matter. 2.5 Water. Furnish water in accordance with Article 168.2, Materials. 2.6 Fertilizer. Use fertilizer in accordance with Article 166.2, Materials, unless otherwise shown on the plans. 2.7 Other materials. Provide additional incidental materials associated with landscape planting that meet the requirements shown on the plans. 3. Construction. Prevent damage to vegetation, slopes, utilities, structures, and other amenities. Repair any damage within the right-of-way caused by the contractor at no additional expense to the department. Provide and document a licensed pesticide applicator for the treatment of insects, diseases, animals, and vegetation in accordance with the Texas Department of Agriculture in the appropriate use category. 3.1 Plant inspection before delivery. Plants are subject to inspection at the nursery or location of collection. Provide and use serialized locking tags on plants selected by the engineer as directed. 3.2 Plant delivery. Notify the engineer at least 48 HR before delivering plants to the worksite. Coordinate with the engineer for inspection and approval of materials upon delivery. Remove rejected plants from the worksite and replace as directed. 3.3 Mark plant locations and bed outlines. Provide and install coded markings, such as wooden stakes, to mark the locations, type of plants, and the outline of planting beds. Obtain approval of the plant and bed locations before excavation begins. 3.4 Plant pit excavation. Excavate pits for container, balled and burlapped, B&B, and fabric bag grown stock to the depth shown on the plans or at least the depth of the root ball. Excavate pits for bare root plants equal to the depth of the root system. Excavate pits on slopes using measurements shown on the plans or at least the depth of the root ball based on the uphill side of the pit. Excavate the receiving pits for mechanically transplanted plants with the same type and size equipment used to dig the plants. Provide a minimum horizontal dimension of 12 inches between the root ball and pit walls for the following, unless otherwise shown on the plans. 15 gallons or larger pots, 14 inches or larger boxes, and larger than 14 inches root balls of B&B and fabric bag grown plants. Provide a minimum horizontal dimension of 2 times the root ball diameter across the pit for the following, unless otherwise shown on the plans. Less than 15 gallons pots, and 14 inches or smaller root balls of B&B and fabric bag grown plants. Provide a minimum pit diameter for bare root plants that permits the roots to spread without crowding or curving around the walls of the pit. 3.5 Plant installation. Install plants within 24 hr of excavating plant pits. Scarify the walls of pits as plant installation begins. Center all plants in a pit, except those mechanically collected, backfill in lifts, each lift 1/3 of the depth of the root ball, and fill the pit with water after each lift to remove air pockets. Prune protruding roots, from the root ball, for mechanically collected plants, to a point even with the cutting blades. Place the plant in the pit and work sand between the pit walls and the root ball with water until the sand fills all the cavities. Apply fertilizer according to the plans. Ensure that the top of the root ball remains at the grade shown on the plans after final settlement. 3.6 Plant basin construction. Construct a basin at least 8 inches deep with an inside diameter equal to the pit diameter and with a level top around the plant unless otherwise shown on the plans. Use excavated soil from the plant pits or beds, backfill material, or other approved material for the basin. Spread excess excavated materials over the right-of-way as directed or remove and dispose of material in accordance with local, state, and federal requirements at locations outside the right-of-way. 3.7 Watering. Coordinate the planting work to ensure that an irrigation system, when specified, operates properly to meet the watering requirements. Apply water to plants or planting areas at the rate and frequency specified for an irrigation system or for the application method shown on the plans. Keep the ground and backfill moist at least 12 inches around the entire root ball if a watering rate and frequency are not specified. 3.8 Using anti-transparents. Apply anti-transparents, when shown on the plans, in accordance with the manufacturer's instructions. 3.9 Pruning. Accomplish pruning in accordance with ANSI A300, Part 1, pruning standards unless otherwise shown on the plans or as directed. Retain the natural shape of plants according to the species. Limit pruning to removal of dead and broken branches, and an additional amount as specified or directed to improve the appearance and health of plants. Prune B&B and collected plants to reduce the original crown by approximately 20% by removing interior branches, entangled limbs, and small branches unless otherwise shown on the plans. Prune to develop the central leader or leaders. Remove and dispose of pruning debris. Apply wound dressing on oak, quercus, species within 20 minutes of causing bark damage or making a pruning cut. Apply wound dressing on other plants when shown on the plans or as directed. Use wound dressing in accordance with the pruning standards. 3.10 Plant support installation. Install plant supports such as staking, guying, and bracing as shown on the plans. Support and keep plants in a vertical position or as directed. 3.11 Tree trunk protection. Install tree trunk protection guards when shown on the plans and in accordance with the manufacturer's instructions. 3.12 Landscape edge installation. Install landscape edging when shown on the plans and in accordance with the manufacturer's instructions. 3.13 Plant bed preparation. Prepare the bed and install the planting soil mix, vegetation barrier, and other materials as shown on the plans. 3.14 Mulching. Mulch plant basins and beds to a depth of 2 inches unless otherwise shown on the plans. 3.15 Maintenance. Begin maintenance of each plant under this item when the installation is completed and approved, or as directed. Perform maintenance until final acceptance of the project, or for a minimum of 90 days should the final acceptance occur less than 90 days after the plant installation is completed and approved, by following the work schedule and frequencies shown on the plans. Perform the minimum requirements stated below if a work schedule and frequency are not shown on the plans. 3.15.1 Watering. Water in accordance with Section 192.3.7, Watering. 3.15.2 Mowing, trimming, and edging. Mow, trim, and edge the designated locations. Mow, trim, and edge every 15 days during the growing season or as directed, mowing at a 3 to 4 inches height. Keep cord trimmers at least 1 feet from plants to prevent damage to the plants. Plants damaged during the maintenance work are subject to rejection and replacement according to Section 192.3.15.9, Plant Replacement. 3.15.3 Plant basin, bed, and worksite maintenance. Chemically control weeds and unwanted grasses in plant basins, beds, along and in structures, and around existing plants every 15 days, unless otherwise directed. Reshape plant basins and beds every 30 days to conform to the plans. Maintain mulch in accordance with Section 192.3.14, Mulching. Ensure that herbicides do not contact desirable plants. Follow the manufacturer's instruction for handling and applying herbicides. 3.15.4 Plant supports. Replace, repair, and adjust supports to meet the requirements of the plans and in accordance with Section 192.3.10, Plant support installation. Adjust staking and guying to prevent girdling of plant trunks. Remove or dispose of support material as directed. 3.15.5 Pruning. Prune as shown on the plans and in accordance with Section 192.3.9, Pruning. 3.15.6 Insect, disease, and animal inspection and treatment. Inspect plants and planted areas at least every 15 days. Notify the engineer of concerns and problems and recommend corrective measures in writing for approval. Treat the plants and planted areas in accordance with TDA or TSPCB laws and regulations. Follow the manufacturer's instructions for handling and applying pesticides. 3.15.7 Litter and debris collection and disposal. Collect litter and debris within the worksite before mowing and trimming at least every 15 days. Dispose of litter and debris as directed. 3.15.8 Tree trunk wrap and protection guard removal and disposal. Remove and dispose of tree trunk wrapping material and protection guards as directed. 3.15.9 Plant replacement. Remove and dispose of dead and damaged plants from the worksite as directed. Replace plants as originally specified within 10 days of notification. Plant replacement must be completed and approved before payment is approved when notification is made between the starting date and day 30 of the maintenance work, according to Section 192.5.2, 30-day payment. Plant replacement must be completed and approved before payment is approved when notification is made between days 31 and 60 of the maintenance work, according to Section 192.5.3, 60-day payment. Plant replacement must be completed and approved before payment is approved when notification is made between days 61 and either the date of project final acceptance or day 90 of the maintenance work, whichever occurs later, according to Section 192.5.4, final payment. For measurement. This item will be measured by each plant. When mulch is specified as a separate pay item, it will be measured by the CU yard or the square YD. When plant soil mix is specified as a separate pay item, it will be measured by the CUYD. When landscape edge is specified as a separate pay item, it will be measured by the feet. When plant bed preparation is specified as a separate pay item, it will be measured by the square YD. When vegetation barrier is specified as a separate pay item, it will be measured by the square YD. When mulch, plant bed preparation, and vegetation barrier are specified as separate pay items and measured by the square yard, they are plan's quantity measurement items. The quantity to be paid is the quantity shown in the proposal, unless modified by Article 9.2, plan's quantity measurement. Additional measurements or calculations will be made if adjustments of quantities are required. 5. Payment. The work performed and materials furnished in accordance with this item and measured as provided under measurement will be paid for at the unit price bid for plant material of the size or plant material of the size and type specified. This price is full compensation for furnishing the plant, mulch, plant soil mix, landscape edge, plant bed preparation, and vegetation barrier, unless mulch, plant soil mix, landscape edge, plant bed preparation, and vegetation barrier are specified as separate items. Payment for plant material will be handled in the following manner. 5.1 Initial payment. When the planting and installation of related materials are completed and approved, 55% of the unit price bid for each related plant will be paid. 5.2 30-day payment. When the first 30 days of the plant maintenance, see section 192.3.15, maintenance, are completed and approved, an additional 15% of the unit price bid for each related plant will be paid, but if the maintenance is not completed and approved, that 15% will be forfeited. 5.3 60-day payment. When the second 30 days of the plant maintenance are completed and approved, an additional 15% of the unit price bid for each related plant will be paid, but if the maintenance is not completed and approved, that 15% will be forfeited. 5.4 Final payment. After the final inspection and acceptance of the project or the completion of the 90-day maintenance, whichever occurs later, an additional 15% of the unit price bid for all plants will be paid, but if the maintenance is not completed and approved, that 15% will be forfeited. When mulch, plant soil mix, landscape edge, plant bed preparation, and vegetation barrier are specified as separate pay items, the work performed and materials furnished in accordance with this item and measured as provided under measurement will be paid for at the unit price bid for mulch or mulch of the type specified, plant soil mix or plant soil mix of the type specified, landscape edge or landscape edge of the type specified, plant bed preparation or plant bed preparation of the type specified, and vegetation barrier or vegetation barrier of the type specified. Each price is full compensation for materials, equipment, labor, tools, and incidentals.